Travel and Things in association with Rugged Wear, Real People, Real Clothing, Real Solutions presents In Conversation With. I'm your host, David Batsoffen, and today my guest is Louisa Holst, who is the author of note the African Air Fryer Cookbook. Louisa, good morning and welcome to you.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Air fryers seem to be the go-to. I don't know if they sort of popped up during lockdown or if they've been there all the time and we haven't known about it, or if some clever ponytail fellow in a room went, how can we sell more kitchen equipment that they've never seen before, and they're going to swear it's the best thing ever?
Yeah, I mean, they have actually been around since before lockdown, but apparently during lockdown, that was when everyone, I suppose, they couldn't go out to restaurants or they couldn't, do the things they normally do. And apparently that is when people really started discovering the air fryer and buying them and using them. And that's when the sales really started to soar. So now it's this popular thing. Everyone's got one, everyone wants one. And that's why we thought, well, it's time to give them some South African recipes.
Why not indeed? I did not know, for instance, that you could do boerewors in an air fryer, because the only thing that's kept me away from sort of boerewors during the week was to light a braai fire. For just my wife and I. It tends to get like really, and you don't want to invite the neighbors over and that type of thing. So for sort of 2 boerewors rolls, it's an hour's worth of work. That's
it's not worth it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing with the air fryer is it actually keeps the skin lovely and crisp, and the inside is still lovely and juicy. So it's almost as good as the braai. And like you say, time saving and all your wood you're going to burn and all the rest of it. Why not? So we experimented with all those South African favorites. Boerewors rolls being one of them.
Is there anything that you tried and was such a horrible disaster that you went, why did I even bother?
Yeah, there were actually a few things I tried. I wanted to do pumpkin fritters, for example, because that's a real South African favorite. But I discovered things like batters and stuff. It's just not the same. You've got to have that oil in your frying pan. It just doesn't taste the same. So there were 1 or 2 flops, but that's all in the process of experimenting and seeing what works and what doesn't. So.
Specifically when it comes to food, were your family the guinea pigs?
Yes.
And then sort of, if they ran screaming from the room, you went, not going to put that in the book.
Exactly. I did actually another variation on the pumpkin fritter, which turned into a pumpkin fritter pudding, and they were like, Mom, it's just no.
Yeah, give it up. Pumpkin's not going to work.
There's no sign of that in the book.
By the same token, roast potatoes also need oil. You can't really air fry them, or can you? Could you do sort of potato wedges?
Yeah, what I find best is actually I always do add a little bit of oil. Actually, I did roast potatoes yesterday. I pre-boil the potatoes and then I just put a little bit of oil on them and then into the air fryer, and the air fryer just crisps them up beautifully. And then the middle is lovely and soft and lovely and roasty inside as well. So the roast potatoes are one of the winners in the air fryer.
Okay, not quite Blumenthal's triple roast potatoes, because people don't realize, Louisa, how difficult proper roast potatoes are to do. I remember going out for a meal years ago, my child and I, to a family member who served us roast potatoes that we couldn't cut with a jigsaw, and then I think we dropped them on the floor for the dog to eat or something. Only to be asked, well, you seem to enjoy those, would you like more? Needless to say, we never went back for another meal because we just couldn't be bothered.
Shame.
What we didn't say in the beginning is this book, I always have to figure out where the camera is. It's published by Human Rousseau. It is available currently at bookstores and online.
Yeah, it's in all the good bookshops, exclusives and bargain books. And it's available online. Take a lot, Loot, all of the online shops as well.
Do you have a favorite recipe that's in the book?
I've got a few favorites, actually. One of my favorites, it didn't start out as a favorite, but it's become a favorite, is the chocolate brownies. I think that's the one I've made most out of the book. But I don't normally have a sweet tooth, but it's actually a bit bad now, because now I've become addicted to these chocolate brownies. So yeah, it's probably not that good that it's my favorite. But yeah, I love that one. And we made these delicious chicken tenders. It's just so quick and easy to make. I think in about 8 minutes, you've got these delicious chicken strips, crumb chicken strips that are lovely and crispy. Those are my kids' favorite.
Okay.
What else? There's actually so many. The bobotie is delicious. There's so many South African favorites. So I think I've been enjoying. But I mean, the air fryer is fantastic for just side dishes. I mean, there's a couple of really delicious salads in the book as well, which I love. So when you're making your braai, we've got a lovely millie, a roasted millie salad, which you do in the air fryer. Roasted butternut comes out so delicious. So I use it a lot for roasted vegetables, actually. I really enjoy that in the air fryer.
Because at the end of the day, I suppose it's all about saving time, and specifically now with load shedding. You want to get your meals done quickly so that you can enjoy them before the power goes off. There's nothing worse than watching that light on your air fryer just go, it's gone. And you're halfway through the meal. And then you're going to have to light the braai anyway.
Exactly. And it saves on electricity as well, because instead of heating up your whole big oven, you now have this very small oven, which heats really quickly, and it's much less cooking time. So it really is an electricity saving.
I must say that the chicken that we've done, let me rephrase that my wife has done. I can't take credit for any of this. Has done in that air fryer, comes out really, really beautiful. It's some of the best roast chicken I've ever had, because as you say, skin remains crispy, yet inside it's still soft and moist.
Exactly. Yeah, we did the whole roast chicken actually in the book. And I mean, everyone, when we were shooting it, my team couldn't believe it. You know, they were expecting a bit of a, I don't know, dry meat or whatever. And it was just so soft and so succulent. That chicken came and went in seconds.
I was about to say, this is the beauty of doing food shoots, or I've worked on food TV series, is the fact that you get to eat I'm going to have to just pause for a moment, and I'll be back in a second. And we're back. I'm talking with Louisa Holst, and we're talking about the South African air fryer cookbook. If in the background all of a sudden there's noise, somebody's come to mow the lawn. So that might be in the background, or maybe not. So back to the book. You've done a lot of recipes with pork, and they're recipes that involve cream. Can you substitute beef or lamb for the pork? And what can you substitute for the cream?
I suppose it would depend on the recipe. I suppose lots of people, the air fryer initially started out as being only for healthy food, which obviously it is. It's a big benefit. It does make your food a lot healthier. But I mean, I did think about that when I was doing the recipes. Now, do I include recipes that are a bit more decadent, with cream or with chocolate? But we just thought, people are using the air fryers now for all sorts of recipes. They don't only just want the most healthy ones. But I mean, in general, you can, like I said, depending on the recipe, but often I substitute Greek yogurt for cream, which is a lot healthier. And the pork, well, sometimes you can't just substitute the pork for beef, because depending on your cut, it's maybe going to be a drier cut, like the pork, the roast we did in the book, that's a pork belly, so it's got that lovely crispy the crackling, which obviously you're not going to get if you do a roast beef. So now that kind of thing you can't really substitute. But I mean, in general, if you're doing a pork sausage, beef sausage works just as well. We did some amazing steak recipes as well in the book. beef steak and ostrich steak as well, which both worked amazingly well. The meat stays tender. It's just like unbelievable. I thought, well, I don't know, this is going to be a waste of steak now.
Obviously
And then
not.
we tried it and it was, wow, this is great.
I think we were talking just before I had to go off and then return about food shoots and TV food programs.
Yes.
The crew love it, specifically if you don't mess with the food and sort of spray it with Vaseline or stuff like that, because they get to eat it all.
Yes.
Sometimes it's vanished, and then the guys will say, "Oh, hang on a second, we just need to reshoot that." You go, "Too late, gone."
It's gone. Too late. Oh no, absolutely. No, I've got an amazing stylist, and he just manages to make the food look absolutely beautiful without doing any weird and wonderful things to it. So, I mean, the only trick we'll sometimes do is just give if they're herbs or salad, a little spritz of water.
Yeah.
That's about it. There's no other weird, I think in the olden days, you used to get a lot of that.
Yeah, in the olden days,
so we all do tuck in. Yeah, I'm also from the olden days, so I do remember
because back in the day, they used to use glycerine. Because that gave it a nice sparkle. It looked like it had been sprayed with water, but then you couldn't eat it, so the food was totally wasted.
Yeah, no, we love to tuck in and eat our food. So we don't want to waste it.
You cook it, you may as well eat it.
Exactly.
Are there recipes in the book, or let me rephrase that? Are there dishes that you prepped and then thought, no, maybe book 2? Not going to do it into this one for whatever reason, and then afterwards you've gone, oh darn, I should have put it in.
Not really. There were definitely too many recipes, but then we just kind of chose the ones that we thought were going to work best for this book. But we certainly are considering another book, so there's going to be lots of chance for a whole lot of all the left. Well, I wouldn't say they were leftovers; they were just, then we just had too many. So
could you do lobster thermidor in an air fryer?
Oh, I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could. Yeah.
Hang on, there's an idea. You
probably have to boil it first, though. Yeah.
There's an idea for you. Fine dining with an air fryer.
Fine dining in the air fryer.
Fine dining. 3-star Michelin or 3-star.
Oh wow.
In an air fryer.
Yeah. There are some limits to the air fryer, but yeah, I mean, it's possible. I mean, I always say to people when they ask me, what can't you do in the air fryer? And then I will say, well, you can't do catering because it's obviously very small.
Yeah.
But having said that, last week, what day are we on? Yeah, last week I catered for a function of 200 people, all in the air fryer. They wanted recipes from the book, Louisa? And it all had to be cooked in the air fryer. So it's possible. It can be done.
I have a vision of a huge, long production line of hundreds of air fryers with you rushing madly back and forth between them.
Yeah, I literally had 2 air fryers. But yeah, I did it.
So here's another question then. When people are considering, they see this book on the shelves and they go, all right, we don't have an air fryer. What should they be looking at in terms of air fryer if pricing is taken out of the equation?
Yeah.
Obviously, the pricing range is as varied as there are models on the market. But what should they be looking for in order to get the best bang for their buck, so to speak?
I think the first thing they must look at is how many people they have in their household. So I've got 2 children, so there are 4 of us. So I mean, when I first looked for an air fryer, I wanted one that was going to be big enough. Mm-hmm. So, and the air fryers are generally quite small. So I always say to people, rather get a size bigger than what you think you need, because as soon as you start cooking in it and realize how awesome it is, then you actually want to cook everything in it, and then you maybe might wish, oh, I should have maybe got the slightly bigger one. So I have an extra large one, but I mean, now I even wish I had the extra large one. So I think the size, and then I always say to people, just look for one of the popular, the reputable brands. If you go onto these Facebook groups, there are many of them now of people who share air fryer recipes and air fryer tips, and a lot of them will recommend and talk about the ones they've had and they use and they're happy with. So yeah, but I mean, it's Black Friday coming up, so there's loads of specials on at the moment. So even price, there's some really good deals. So yeah, people must just look around, do their homework a bit, but yeah, go for a slightly bigger one if you can.
Okay, and then should everybody in the house learn to use the thing? Because I know, for instance, there's just 2 of us in our household, and I've studiously stayed away from it.
Oh yes, yeah,
that's my wife's
like
domain.
my husband. Yeah, no, that sounds just like my husband.
It's a bit
Yeah, he
sexist,
just
and it's not meant to
doesn't
be.
know how to use it. Doesn't know how to use it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's actually so easy. It's much easier than a oven, and I think that's why people, especially teenagers, I mean, my boys love the air fryer, and they, especially if we're out or I'm busy, they can quickly just pop something in and, you know, got a meal in minutes, and without too much fuss. Yeah, and then they feel quite proud that they actually managed to cook it themselves.
Listen, I get excited if I get the setting in the microwave right.
Yeah.
Some while ago we replaced our microwave and we wanted to make some popcorn, and I remembered the setting from the previous microwave, which was wrong for the new microwave. I set off our smoke alarm. Not only that, but we had the smell of burnt popcorn in our house for days afterwards.
Yes, I totally understand, because the exact same thing happened to my kids when we were away, but it set on fire.
Oh, okay.
And luckily we had a fire extinguisher in the house. So they literally had to spray the whole microwave full of fire hydrants. So yeah, it can happen.
It can. How long does a book like this take to produce?
Sure, it probably, I would say it would take around probably, I don't know, about 6 months. Ours, we did in record time, because we just realized, sure, you know, we've got to get this book onto the shelves. The people are asking for it. They want recipes, they want local recipes. So my publisher said to me, look, it's a very tight deadline. Can you do it? Luckily, I've been a magazine journalist for 27 years or something. So
you know about deadlines.
Yeah, and developing recipes comes easy for me. So it wasn't that part of it was easy. And then I've got an amazing team, a brilliant stylist and photographer. So I mean, it did actually go very quickly. I think we did the whole production in about 3 months.
Wow.
So
that's pretty good. So, people don't realize how much work is involved.
It was a lot of work. Yeah. So I'm not going to say it wasn't hard. It was hectic.
So well done to Human Rousseau for stepping up to the plate, so to speak, and seeing the gap and the necessity in the market, and getting it out in time for the festive season. Because as you say, for those who don't want to braai, I suppose the only thing, going back to my question earlier as to what you can't do in an air fryer, is you can't do a turkey. I don't think there's an air fryer big enough to do a whole turkey.
Not unless you've got a very small baby turkey. Yeah, look, very big things are obviously not going to work so well. I had a Milex air fryer to do this catering job. And that was actually quite big. You could possibly fit it's one of those oven types. So it's not the drawer type air fryer. Okay. So I suppose there definitely are bigger models, but yeah, there are some limits to the air fryer, and doing very big quantities here, you're not going to be, you're going to have to stick with your old-fashioned oven for that.
Or cut it into smaller pieces.
Cut it in half.
So is there a recipe in your book that you're going to be making for the festive season, or
I don't know.
Or turkey in an oven?
No, turkey's not one of our sort of family traditions.
Okay.
We've never really had that. But what we like to do is we do these bring and share kind of Christmases. So each one will prepare and actually over the years we found the best is we like just to do one of those cold Christmases where everyone brings some, you can roast your chicken or roast your other meat and then slice it, and it's lovely, and you just have it cold with delicious salads. So I'm pretty sure the potatoes or something.
We just
Yeah.
glitched over that. I'm sorry, you were saying you were doing cold. You do cold
Yes.
Christmases. Okay, well that
Yeah.
makes sense because then you're not stressed for time, and you're not beholden to
Exactly.
people arriving with warm food and going, either let's put it in an oven and there's no room, or we've got to eat now type of thing.
No, exactly. Yeah.
And Christmas in South Africa is normally a very warm day, so
Hot.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
so it's all for the good. The book is called The South African Air Fryer Cookbook. It's by Louisa Holst and it's published by Human Rousseau. Louisa, thank you so much for being my guest this morning. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you, and I look forward to future editions of this book, specifically the Fine Dining With.
Okay. I'll work on that.
Which I want
Thank you.
credit for.
Okay, for sure. Thanks so much for having me. It's been good.
Great stuff. My guest today on In Conversation with Louisa Holst and her book, The South African Air Fryer Cookbook, published by Human Rousseau.